Welcome and thank you for joining us for Coffee with Hillary and Les, brought to you by State of Mind Hypnosis and Training Center, located in the heart of the Kawartha Lakes. This is our almost daily community podcast about the mind and how you might change it in the most simple and helpful ways. Every day we sit, staring at the lake and sipping our coffee, having a chat about hypnosis and how to make those meaningful adjustments to our state of mind. Because nothing is more important than your state of mind.
We are on the line.
Beautiful. Warm outside.
It is. It's going up to 11.
And the wind is blowing across the water, making ripples.
Kind of tired this morning.
Well, and we're slow off the mark doing a podcast. Boy, oh boy. The sun's not usually this high when we start.
Yeah. So what do you want to talk about today?
What comes to mind is forgiveness. God knows I'm always working on it.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly forgiving myself.
I think people underestimate the power of forgiving yourself. I think, especially in hypnosis, not to dive right in.
Let's dive right in. What's the point? We're not diving in.
But yeah, that's always we can forgive everyone around us or think we forgive them, but until we forgive ourselves, it just expands the change that happens within your mind, right? Because that's big.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think forgiveness is it's a particular kind of mindset, and I don't think it's one that our society promotes. Right? Our society, I use that phrase really broadly to sort of mean everything from media to general social attitudes, to trends, the kinds of trends that we see. Just our society is out there. It's really spending a lot of energy on us and them.
Yeah.
It's really filled with the idea that the world would be okay if it wasn't for those people.
Yeah.
Or those people trying to do that. And then we blame people and we think, we're going to fix the world if we can get rid of those attitudes and the people who propagate them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just conflict. I mean, I would probably start a discussion of forgiveness just by recognizing, doing a little experiment with your mind and thinking about some offense. Somebody's done something that's got you upset. It's really easy. Most of us have jobs and bosses and it's easy to think of, people that you can say have made your life difficult. And when you think about something that somebody does and you think of it in terms of it being an offense, something they shouldn't have done, just the feelings inside you, the negativity, the anger, the boiling that happens. I mean, first of all, it's not pleasant. Being upset with someone or some situation is not pleasant, and it clings to you. And it will affect the rest of your day because it just takes absolute control over your state of mind. And I'm going to go so far as to say it's not good for your health. You can think of it simply and practically that a negative emotion held inside you is causing stress. It's raising your blood pressure. It's causing your heart to beat faster and harder. It's causing muscles to clench, right? So when you think about not forgiving, you got to be prepared to go through some real negative emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, at least in the hypnosis world, when we take people through forgiving, it's really sort of reframing this idea that by forgiving, it doesn't make what the other person did as right or okay, but it just allows your body to let go of, allows your mind and body to let go of it.
Yeah, like for me, when I'm working with people, I start with shifting the motivation. We think of forgiveness as something we do for somebody else. I'm going to forgive you. Like in my big magnanimous attitude, I'm looking down upon you as the offender, and I can say, well, I'm going to let you off the hook. Mm-hmm. And if our motivation is either to build our ego that we have power, or our motivation is to let somebody else off the hook, we're trying to give them something, then we're really missing the point, right? Forgiveness primarily benefits you. It might benefit the other person that you want to forgive, because in many respects you're wiping the slate clean, and so you'll start again. And we're not willing to just forgive anybody, although it'd be useful. It would certainly be healthy. We tend to want to forgive people that we want to continue in relationship with. But I really believe in the end, if you can shift your motivation from wanting to do something for somebody else and wanting to do something for yourself, then forgiveness opens up a whole world of thinking, a whole bunch of new doors. Right? You know, I use the reframe all the time with clients. Forgiveness is freedom. Mm-hmm. If you want to be in a state of mind that allows you to choose anything that makes you happy, to do anything that would improve your life, to feel free to just go out there and express your core creativity, you really need to release the past in every way. Right? The past does not determine the future. Mm-hmm. And so if you can completely release the past, including all the people that may have gotten in the way or caused problems or hurt you in some way or another, then you are truly free to choose anything you want without limitation. And forgiveness is really the only thing I know of that can give you that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about when we go back in time in hypnosis, and oftentimes it's very normal for somebody to say, I don't want to forgive them. I'm not ready to forgive them yet. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine, you know. But then we work on looking at that person, the offender, a little differently. Knowing that that offender is usually suffering and just doesn't, understand what they're really doing. And in that moment, it's easier for them to level the playing field, so to speak, right? So instead of the offender being this bad person that woke up that morning and said, I'm going to do this bad thing, or I'm going to make that person feel angry or, hurt. Oftentimes it's just people acting out of fear and responding or doing something that if they had their time back, they probably wouldn't do, right? And in that moment when the person goes, oh yeah, okay, they were really just doing what they knew what to do at that time, with what information that they had. And usually that information is from them growing up in their crappy environment, right? Then they just don't have the tools.
Well, you always have to see human beings as living out their program, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. Right? everything is hypnosis. Everything is a suggestion accepted. Everything that you as a person are living out is because you think it's the right thing. You think it's what you're supposed to do. And where did that come from? Well, somebody told you. And we've built a whole culture and society on a whole bunch of ideas that we just keep passing each other. And if you can see it that way, if you can just see it as this ongoing program that we pass along to each other, and that the program is filled with errors. It's filled with misunderstandings and misperceptions. It's filled with really backward thinking sometimes. It doesn't take much to look at humans and say, why do we do such crazy things? And it's all based on the best of intentions and the program that's filled with errors. I just like really pushing the idea of your motivation to forgive is never about the other person. So for example, you said, and it immediately hit me, I'm not ready to forgive them yet. Well, I can understand why you're not ready to look at them with love. Mm-hmm. I can't understand why you want to carry it around, though. Because that's why you forgive. You don't forgive because, you want to let them off the hook. You forgive because you're the only one suffering. They're not suffering. They are not even aware that you've thought about forgiving them, or that you don't want to forgive them. And maybe in many respects, because we all do this so much, you've repressed down anger and resentment so much. I guess to back up, I think of this as, the kind of stuff that's in our closest relationships, people that we say we love. And you don't want to be constantly in the state of resentment. So you push it down. Someone you love hurt you. You push it down, you push it down. You never really deal with it. You never get past it. It's there every time you talk to them or look at them. You're tempted to be vengeful. You're tempted to be passive aggressive. You're tempted to be hurtful sometimes just because you hurt me. And all of that is going on inside yourself. It's not going on inside them. And so to say, well, I'm not ready to forgive you, is to sort of say, well, I'm not ready to stop suffering. Mm-hmm. Because the beauty of forgiveness is that you get to stop suffering with it. It's the only real potent value of forgiveness, is to see it as truly a self-help thing.
Yeah.
So that's my immediate reaction to that. But you're right. I mean, I think we can start, if we want to understand what forgiving is. Yeah, I think a great way to start is to look at somebody that you could forgive just about anything to. It's often a little one, right? And if you can go around and see other human beings as just old expressions of little ones who are filled with all their childish ideas and their childish emotions and their fears and their confusion, if you can see people that way, it probably makes it easier to be forgiving. Mm-hmm. But if you just start there, think of somebody who can do no wrong. Somebody in your life that if they were to do something that hurt you, they wouldn't have meant to do that. If they did something to hurt you, it's simply because they didn't know or understand. They weren't really aware of what they were doing, or they weren't aware that what they were doing could hurt. Mm-hmm. And you see that person, what's dominant in your eyes is your love for them and your perception of their lovability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's very normal when you're going through this process to have a part of you that comes up and says, well, I don't want to let go of the suffering, because that suffering is now almost like a shield, right? This shield protects me, and this shield means that I won't get hurt again.
Yeah, and that's why so many of us hang on to our past experiences without processing them. Is we think by just simply staying aware of them, we're protecting ourselves from it happening again. And I just think that isn't true.
Yeah, it's not true because like it's not like you're suddenly going to have amnesia and go out into the world and act differently. But
Be frivolous and make yourself vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
In fact, when something bad happens, when something unpleasant happens, again, you can shift the way you see that. We talk about the idea of mistakes being lessons, right? Don't look at your life as a bunch of mistakes. Look at it as a bunch of lessons. Mm-hmm. And I try to, again, I use this a lot. You got to remember that you never learn anything from doing something right. Sometimes you're just lucky and you get it right. Sometimes you're just talented and you get it right. And whatever you're doing and it's going well, that means you already know how to do this. That means you're already engaged in a positive way. It's only when things don't go the way you want them, or things go the opposite of what you want them, mm-hmm. that you actually learn anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's really like if we're walking around beating ourselves up because we make mistakes, then we're going to be afraid. Eventually, we're going to be afraid to act at all. We're going to be paralyzed. Yeah. If we're out there making mistakes and we say, well, every time I make a mistake, it's just a lesson to be learned. Well, now we're growing constantly. Yeah. But these ideas, the ideas of making mistakes, these ideas of forgiveness, we've got, I believe, some really backward thinking around them, which is why we cling to people's offenses, why we don't forgive ourselves, because we think we got to be tough on ourselves to keep ourselves from making that mistake again.
Yeah.
And it just isn't true.
Yeah, and back to that forgiving yourself ideas. We don't want to hear it, we don't want to know it, but we've all hurt somebody, right? We've all done it. And if you think back, you probably didn't wake up that morning thinking, I'm going to hurt that person. It was probably something that, you didn't know what to do at the time and it came out wrong, or you made the wrong decision. And it hurt somebody, right? And then going through the motions of forgiving yourself for that.
Well, how do you forgive yourself let me say it this way. If forgiveness is a kind of an act of love, and the one thing you can't do when you're loving is judge. The one thing you can't love when you judge. They're opposites. They're opposite processes. Love is a form of appreciation, while judgment is a form of condemnation. And if you're going to be caught up in your mind judging yourself, then you can't love yourself enough to say, hey, I made a mistake. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean to make the mistake. I didn't even realize I was making the mistake when I was doing it.
Yeah.
Now, in hindsight, I see that my program, my deep subconscious way of doing things is not always helpful, and sometimes results in others and myself getting hurt. And if I appreciate myself, that, I'm doing the best I can, and this, I think, is the big idea. I'm doing the best I can. Then you're no longer judging yourself. In fact, you're accepting now. And now you're in a position to forgive yourself. Now, it always helps to just, if you're aware that you hurt somebody, it really helps to just apologize. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't stress that enough. Just say it. Get it off your chest. Don't carry it around. Just say, I am sorry. If there's anything I can do to make up for this, I want to do it. Those words alleviate so much pain and pressure. They just right immediately stop a whole world of future suffering.
Yeah.
While you walk around telling yourself, I shouldn't have done that. Just jump right to that apology as quickly as you can, and you're saving yourself untold suffering.
Yeah.
And I guess that just, if forgiveness is freedom, sometimes is a stretch for people to get their mind there. So here's another reframe. We are all fighting the same hard battle. And we are. We're all getting up every day trying to make our way through this world that has all kinds of forces targeted against us. We are all trying to find a way to get love, be happy, give love, be connected. These are all the things we know deep inside us are rewarding.
Yeah, and even if you have people in your life that look like they're not giving love in the way that you might want it, they probably suffer with not knowing how to love.
There it is. We all feel better when we're out there expressing love. I mean, there's no human being that expresses love that doesn't have a positive emotion as a result. Mm-hmm. We all want that.
Yeah.
And so often what keeps us from expressing our love is just we're so darn busy in our own head, beating ourselves up.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe to, hopefully, to really pull on someone's heartstrings out there. If one of your parents, you're thinking, well, they never showed me love and I'm angry at them for not showing love. Well, think maybe just to look at it like we do in hypnosis, look at it as, well, how did they grow up? How did your parent grow up? Were they shown love as a child? Do they even know how to show love? Are they scared of love? Are they scared of opening up?
Yeah, it's really easy for everyone. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can look back on the previous generation and you can see them as kind of screwed up. And it's really easy to look back on the previous generations and blame them for all the problems in the world. And it's really easy to see your own, let's use the phrase, growth past the limitations of your parents. That's the truth of it. No matter who you are, you have grown past the limitations of your parents in some way, to some degree. And to the degrees that you haven't yet, you struggle to try to, right? That's constantly on your mind. I just really believe that the fastest way to move beyond that is to forgive your parents for their foibles. And yeah, there's a compassion element. Compassion is a wonderful tool to use in forgiveness, where you can look at somebody and try to understand their circumstance. What got them there? What kind of life did they live? What kind of forces were they subject to? And I think that's just a nice beginning to set the stage to say, well, I can understand that you, like me, are just living the same hard battle. And then you shift. I believe that the best way is to shift to your own self-interest. I don't want to carry this around anymore. I don't want to have this be active in my life anymore. I don't want to make decisions based on this feeling or this anger or this resentment. I don't want to make choices that are an acknowledgement in many ways that I've been hurt. I want to make choices that guide me to my greatest freedom. Mm-hmm. And in seeing that, using compassion and then using that self-motivation, just see that there's a real value in letting that go.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah, how much time do we use?
25 minutes.
Oh, God, I gotta learn to talk faster.
No, it's good. It's good. I think when we're passionate about something, we lose track of time, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm passionate, but I'm struggling with this. Everybody, I'm sure, does, but I know that I am. And forgiveness always includes yourself. Don't forget that. And we're all, the phrase, I think, the real total phrase is be kind. We're all fighting the same hard battle. And if you can find that today, I hope that helps.
Absolutely. All right, we'll see you later.
We hope you enjoyed today's podcast and that maybe it helped even a little. If you have any questions, we would love you to send them along in an email to info@somhypnosis.com. Thank you for being part of the State of Mind community. For more information about hypnosis and the various online or in-person services we provide, please visit our website, www.somhypnosis.com. While you are there, why don't you book a free 1-hour journey meeting with Hillary or Les to learn more about what hypnosis is and how you might use it to make your life what you want it to be. Bye for now. Talk to you tomorrow.